If we are constantly engaging in foreign policy that drives people to our southern border, in this specific instance, U.S. sanctions that were originally authored by Marco Rubio.
When you look at the immigration crisis, and I have the clip from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, there are two causes for what's happening at our border. Number one, it's American foreign policy. And we've discussed that at great length over the years. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez puts it very succinctly in this next clip. The second is economic policy. Because for every business owner who is sandbagging American workers, yes, black workers, who are sandbagging us, they're doing so because they're able to circumvent American laws and use cheap migrant labor, as they have always used cheap migrant labor. And what has happened? Well, the standard talking points that we have seen over the last 60, 70 years remain. You blame the migrant, but you don't blame the system that one created the migrant. You don't blame the system that is profiting off the migrants. No, you blame the migrants. How convenient for white supremacy. Pay no attention to the system that literally is seeking across the globe the cheapest labor that it could find. And we already know that if they can get slave labor, they absolutely will use slave labor. But here you are, as a person of color, a black person, a marginalized person, whatever your identity is, and you have focused all of your energy on the people who are trying to escape American foreign policy, and the people who are the pawns of an economic system that doesn't want to pay you, black man, minimum wage. And so what do? They happily welcome this migrant labor, and they simultaneously tell you that those migrants are the problem. This is 100% the case that we have seen in this country since time immemorial. But what we're seeing right now, more than anything else, is the weaponization of the anger towards migrants. Take your eyes off the white supremacists and put your eyes on the migrants. And that's what's happening. And here's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez leaning into the core problem: American foreign policy. Listen in.
I definitely think that we need to have comprehensive immigration reform so that we aren't constantly doing this patchwork policy extensions. That has not happened for decades. But additionally, I think we also need to examine the root of this problem, because if we are constantly engaging in foreign policy that drives people to our southern border, in this specific instance, U.S. sanctions that were originally authored by Marco Rubio.
The United States foreign policy, specifically the sanctions, the broad-based sanctions that were levied against Venezuela, as written by Republican Senator from the state of Florida, Marco Rubio, that's the leading cause. That's what precipitated the migrant buildup that we have going on the border right now. And of course, this is not just limited to the migrants coming from Venezuela, right? This is pertinent to the migrants from El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, even the migrants from Haiti. They are the direct result of United States foreign policy. And what our power ruling elite have said is allow us to completely decimate your economy and your nation. And when you have to flee in order to take care of your families, don't come to our border, go somewhere else. We created the problem, but go somewhere else to have that problem fixed. And again, whatever your policies are, whatever your positions are on immigration, because there's going to be a diversity of opinions based on how that immigration affects you very directly, right? If you're in a community where migrants have been shipped and dropped off and they are there in your community is already exploited, your community is already impoverished, I certainly understand the desire for protectionism. I understand that desire, but when that desire is amplified by the bigotry and the hatred, the xenophobia, the exact language, in fact, you find yourself marching side by side with white supremacists and Nazis, then I really got to pause and ask the question, if you crossed the Rubicon, have you jumped the shark? I don't even have to ask that question because the truth is you have. Any policy that has you so fixated on it that you begin to weaponize the exact same bigotry that is wielded against you, you've lost the plot. And furthermore, anyone who takes their eyes off of the root cause of our global problems, the root cause of our global problems as they are connected to the root causes of what's happening here domestically. You cannot deny that what is happening on the global stage is a direct result of both white supremacy and capitalism. And that's what we're seeing even in the foreign policy of the United States of America as it pertains to these Latin American countries. It is a white supremacist capitalistic endeavor. But when you take your eyes off of that and say, oh, let's just blame the migrants, then you have given white supremacy and capitalism exactly the tools they need to continue thriving, which is to have us here at the bottom pointing towards each other, going to war with each other when we should never have taken our gaze off of the culprits in the first place. And those are the white supremacists who are benefiting economically off of the foreign policy and off of the cheap migrant labor. But that's who some black folks are aligning with. The absurdity of it all.